It has been another season to forget for the Scuderia. Inconsistent car speed, strange team orders, and bad strategies have been the story of their 2019 season. Apart from having a fast car next year, the biggest issue on the table for Binotto is the relationship between Vettel and Leclerc. While off the track they seemingly get on well, things are boiling over on the circuit. We've had angry team radios and emotional ones from both drivers throughout the season, and then obviously last weekend the collision happened in Brazil. Binotto said during pre-season that the 50-50 decisions would go Vettel's way in the early part of the year, and it was up to Leclerc to show him that would be a mistake. Team orders immediately came into play in Australia when Leclerc in the second stint caught Vettel. Vettel had been the faster Ferrari driver throughout the weekend, but couldn't keep up with the Mercedes and Max Verstappen in the race. Leclerc asked on the radio if he should stay behind, and he was told to do so. At the next race in Bahrain, Charles was clearly quicker than Sebastian. He took pole by a couple of tenths of a second, and after a nervy start and dropping to third, he quickly got back into second and closed the 2-second gap to his teammate. He told his race engineer that he was faster, but he was asked to hold position for a couple of laps. However, he ignored that and took the lead from Vettel and drove away from him. Had it not been for the problem, he would have won his first race, but once again, it showed that Ferrari's priority was Vettel at that time. For the third time in 3 races at the start of the season, Ferrari once again employed team orders, this time in China. Leclerc was just ahead of Vettel, but Vettel did seem to be faster. After Leclerc was asked to up his pace, eventually he was asked later to let Vettel through. The Monegasque did do that in the end, and Vettel went on to finish third. But Leclerc's race was badly compromised with a bad strategy and he ended up 5th. The team order saga rumbled on to Spain. After trying to attack the Mercedes into turn 1, Vettel badly flat-spotted his front tyres. Leclerc was stuck behind him for a number of laps before eventually Vettel was asked to move over and let Leclerc through, which he did. Then later in the race the tables turned. Vettel was on a softer tyre and he was behind Leclerc. It took Ferrari too long to move Leclerc out of the way, but eventually it happened. But it cost Vettel a lot of time, and in the process, these two holding each other up allowed Max Verstappen to be comfortably third at that point, and he held on to the podium position by the end of the race. Things settled down until Italy, when the rivalry really started to go up another level. After Vettel had given Leclerc the toe on the first runs, Leclerc was meant to do it for his teammate on the second runs. With Leclerc on pole position already, he probably wasn't too fussed about actually giving his teammate a toe. The toe was obviously very powerful around Monza, and Vettel was close after the first run, so Leclerc probably deep down knew that Vettel could beat his time and take pole position away from him. They didn't make the checker flag to even do a second lap in Q3, and Vettel on the radio was rightly pissed off. The tables turned in Singapore with a controversial race ending. Leclerc had qualified on pole with a brilliant lap with Vettel down in third, but Vettel was brought in first by Ferrari in the race. A tremendous outlap meant he jumped Leclerc and took the lead. Leclerc on the radio was far from happy and consistently moaned to the team about it. But in the end, nothing changed and Vettel took the victory from Leclerc. Things got even more heated in Russia. Leclerc once again took pole position with Vettel third. Vettel made a brilliant start and jumped Hamilton and Leclerc to take the lead. But with Leclerc not defending, something didn't seem right, and we found out a few laps later what it was. There seemed to be a pre-race agreement where Leclerc would give Vettel the toe at the start and then Vettel would hand the place back to Leclerc. But it turned out Vettel was actually quicker than Leclerc and didn't let him back through. He ultimately built up a 4-second lead before Ferrari pitted Leclerc first to give him the undercut. Clearly Leclerc got the undercut and Vettel rejoined behind him, but Vettel retiring almost immediately gifted Mercedes a 1-2. Some would call it karma. Eventually it all came to a head at Interlagos last Sunday. Battling for 4th place, Leclerc made a beautiful move on Vettel into turn 1, But then Vettel came back with the DRS heading down towards turn 4, and it looked like he would get the move done, but the player made slight contact and it ended both their races. It had been brewing for a while and this collision was inevitable in my opinion. It's become obvious this year how much Leclerc wants to win, how hungry he is and emotional he can be over the team radio to be the best and to have things go his way. He's very like Vettel in that way, I think, and that is a problem for Ferrari and Binotto. It's all well and good for the drivers to say things have been sorted and that nobody is bigger than the team out of the car, but in reality, in the car, both of them want to win and are fierce competitors. We've learned that with Leclerc this year and Vettel. We've known that for a long time now. Binotto needs to lay down the law and let them know that neither of them are bigger than the team and that they have to work together on track and off the track to beat the mighty competition of Mercedes and Red Bull. Obviously they haven't had the car this year to compete for the championship. However, they've lost some podium finishes thanks to the in-house fighting, and the incident in Brazil has probably gifted Verstappen third in the championship. Vettel's treading thin water more than Leclerc because he's the much older driver and his career is coming towards a close pretty soon, you feel like. Is Binotto up to the task of being a good manager of his drivers? That's the big question. Both see themselves as the number one driver, both see themselves as the leader of the team, and if Binotto doesn't sort it, this could easily turn into a Nico Rosberg-Lewis Hamilton rivalry all over again. It'll be interesting to see what happens between these two next year if Ferrari have a really competitive car. What do you think Binotto should do? Should he keep the same driver lineup for next year, or should he make a shock decision to remove one of the drivers and bring in a number 2? Let me know in the comments below. For now, it's goodbye from me.